Hey, welcome back to the channel and another puzzle from Megan033. We've done a couple of these now of theirs, and they're wonderful puzzles, which is why they keep coming up that I'm doing them. And a lot of the time they're fog puzzles, which are wonderful puzzles that I enjoy very much, and I hope you do as well. So this one is called Echo Through the Fog by Megan033. And let's get into some rules and let's get going on this one because it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. As always, links and descriptions are below. You can play along, play before I do it, play along with, however you enjoy doing it. As long as you have fun, that's awesome. It makes my world to know that you guys are enjoying these things. So let's get into these rules anyway. So we've got normal Sudoku rules apply. So every row, every column, and every 3x3 box contains the digits 1 through 9 once each without repeating. There is, well, here we go into nice and bold font here. There is one and only one gray palindrome line, which reads the same forwards and backwards. Okay, and we don't know where it is yet because we have, well, maybe we do, but I'm not going to start to speculate. I'm just reading rules right now. Sometimes I get way ahead of myself. So there's only one palindrome line. Let's just roll with that. Digits in a cage, which is killer cages, do not repeat inside of the clue in the top left corner. So these two digits, when added, would equal the 8. These two digits would add equal 14. A white dot or Kropki dot between cells indicates cells with consecutive values. So whatever this digit is, this has to be either 1 above or 1 below it. They must be consecutive. And then finally, we have the grid is partially covered with fog. Correctly placed digits will clear the fog around that cell. So if you were to select this digit, if you knew what it was and you were to put that digit in, it would clear all the fog around it. So every adjacent cell is what clears, if you weren't aware of that previously. Those are the rules. And let's just jump into this thing and see what happens. So where's the best place to start? I'm not sure I know. It said there is one and only one gray palindrome line, which leads me to believe that that is specifically stated to say this is one massive palindrome that goes all the way around, which would tell me that these two digits are the same. I think that would probably be accurate, considering there are multiple ways to make 8 in 2 digits. There are multiple ways to make 14 in 2 digits. There are multiple ways to have 3 consecutive digits. So there's not a ton in here that it looks like we can do. Now we also would know that these two digits must be the same digit, and these digits, even though you can't see this one, we know the palindrome line goes into that cell. So these have to be the same digit. So what does that actually tell us? Well, it tells us what's the best thing we can use with this for, other than the fact that we have to somehow use a common digit between the two of them. I think that's probably what we're going to have to use. I was thinking about just straight addition, where we know these have to equal 14, these have to equal 8. I don't know that we can make a determination of what those digits would be or if they'd have restrictions, because obviously this plus this equals 8. Well, this plus this equals 14, but this plus this would equal 8, and this plus this would equal 14. So there is something there, but I don't know that it's something we're going to use at the moment. So the question is, these two digits, I think these are going to be the important ones to really look at. The yellow and the blue. Because there are multiple conditions they must satisfy. And that is, 1, these two digits must be within the 14 and the 8. So we're limiting what they can be off the bat there. And the blue and the yellow must be within 2 digits of each other. So if let's say this was a 1, this is hypothetical, it's not going to work with the puzzle as you can tell, but it's going to give us a general idea of what the concept is we're looking at here. Say this was a 1, that forces this to be a 1, then you end up having the blue digit, obviously it's not correct, would be a 13. Then you have a 1 here and a 13 here, and you have to cross that bridge somehow. But how do you cross between a 1 to a 13? You can't do it. So the concept would be these two digits have to be semi-close to each other. The yellow has to satisfy both an 8 and a 14, which means it's going to have to be somewhere in like the middle between what works for an 8 and what works for a 14. So I guess the best way to look at it is we clearly can't put a 9 in the yellow. We clearly can't put a 7 in the yellow because 7 would have to go with another 7 to make 14. So the highest digit we can put in this is, well, it can't be an 8. I didn't say that either because it clearly has to be less than 8. Is 6. Now, if we were to put a 6 in here, that would force this to be an 8. And what do you know? 8 is 2 away from 6. Now, if we were to reduce this at all, we'd end up with 5. Let's say it would be the next step down. Now, if we have a 5 here, that forces a 9 up here. Now we've got a 9 and a 5, which never works. So what we're going to find is this is 6. It's the only thing that's going to work. This is 8. This is 2. This is 8. This is 2. Now, I think I'm going to want to get rid of our coloring, and our coloring might start shifting as we move along. This we know has to be the 7 because it's between 6 and 8. Now we've got a 5 cage here, which can't be 3, 2, so it has to be 1, 4. Which means this has to be 1, 4, because you'll see the next in line. Like I said, we're looking at a palindrome that's going to do a big old winding path to get here. But we know that these are the ends. These are the next in line. These are next in line. These are next in line. So this has to be 1 or 4. Well, it can't be 4 because then you'd have to put a 4 here. So these both have to be 1. This has to be 4. And that's going to keep us moving. Now we've got well, we know this has to be 7, so let's put that in there while we've got it. Now these two digits are the next ones in line, that they have to be the same digit. Well, let's look at this 6, because we have a little bit that we can whittle it down to. It could be 1, 5. It could be 2, 4. Those are the options. Clearly it can't be 3, 3, because you can't repeat a digit. This can't be 1. This can't be 4. So if this can't be 4, this can't be 2. And if this couldn't be 1, this couldn't be 5. Now, what does that do? Well, we just said this digit and this digit have to be the same digit because they're on a palindrome. And they're equidistant from wherever the center happens to be, probably down here somewhere, but we don't know. But looking at this, well, if this is either a 4 or a 5, well, it can't be a 4, so it must be a 5. And there we have a 5. Now we're going to keep whittling our way down, and now we're going to step into the 6 cell and say that this now has to be the 1. And I think this is where we're getting the echo through the fog. These digits are echoing throughout the puzzle, is a good way to put it. Now we've got these two digits are the next ones in line. What can we do with those that's going to give us much use? Maybe it's going to be more looking at this row and trying to determine what this Kropki dot is. Because there's a few ways you can make a 12, and I don't think there's going to be too much telling you can't put something here that you could put here in that instance. So let's look at this real quick. What can this digit be? Just to put it out there, see if there's anything constraining it. Well, it can't be 1, 2, 4, 5, or 6, so it's either 3, 7, 8, or 9. Now it can't be, well, it could be any of them, because this just has to be consecutive with it. So it's 8, 7, or 9, 8, 7, 6, or it could be 2 or 4. So I don't really want to put those in just yet. I mean, maybe there's some kind of Sudoku sitting up here that's going to help us a little bit better. There has to be a 1 up here. There has to be an 8 down here. There has to be a 6 up here. Just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, so there is something here. These have to be a 7, 8 pair, as we see from 8, 7, 8, 7. So this cannot be anything. Hello, delete. These have to be a 7, 8 pair. So that kind of rules some things down now. So we know this has to be consecutive with 7 or 8, so it's 6, 7, 8, or 9. which forces this to be 6, 7, 8, or 9. We know this can't be 6, so these can't be 6. Can we rule out anything else? Well, if this was 7, this would have to be a 5. Clearly it can't be. No 7. So we've got 8 or 9. We've got an 8 staring at us, so they're both 9s. That must be 8 to be consecutive, and that is 7. This has to be 3. And we're just going to keep rolling through this, I think, now. Let's move on. I don't think we're going to do anything with this there's 12 just yet. We'll come back to that in a second if we find there's anything that's giving us any trouble. So we've got an 11 clue. We know it can't be 9, 2, because there's a 9 here and here. We know it can't be 8, 3, because we've got a 3 looking at it. So it could be, 7, 4, or 6, 5. We know this can't be 7, so this can't be 4. Now, this is the next number in line, and it's either 4, 5, or 6. Well, that correlates to this cell, next in line on our palindrome, so it clearly can't be a 5. So this is either 4 or 6, and it's adjacent. It has to have a consecutive digit on it. So the question is, can this ever be a 4? And the answer is no, because it has to be either 3 or 5, but both of those are taken, so this has to be 6. And we'll just continue our little echo session. It's like Echo and the Bunnymen. Any of you get that reference, you will have lived a fairly long lifetime up to this point. I'll put it that way. So let's continue on. Our next palindrome space in line is going to be these two. Now, we don't have any killer cages to work with here. So let's look at Sudoku. It could be 1, it can't be 2, it could be 3, it could be 4, it can't be 5, it can't be 6, it can't be 7, and it can't be 8. So it's one of those 3. Let's remove a couple little things I just noticed so that they're out of the way. Well, actually, I've got a couple digits here that I can work with. Let's do that first before we start going into monster levels of possible digits. These have to be 3 and 9 for the row, which gives us a 5 here. We could have just looked at this 5 and said that has to be 5, but boring. So there's a 5 up there somewhere. What else can we do in Sudoku world? One of these has to be a 1. I don't think we're gonna get a ton of stuff here to work with, but I want to check it out just to make sure. 5s are the only other real thing. There has to be a 5 in one of these. We don't know where this bit of the palindrome falls on this other side. Like this might just do that, but I'm not sure. But we don't know what this does either. Connect back in. It puts a 5 in one of these. Now we do know where this one is. Let's write this in for a second. We know this digit is 3 along from the 6. So it would be here. So that is possible that that is a 5. Okay, so we cannot make a determination on that one just yet. 6s, do we have anything doing? One of these is a 6. We do. Okay, so that's what it was, 6s. No 6s in any of those. We can't put a 6 in a 12 cage because it'd have to repeat. So we've got a 6 here that's going to open up a tiny bit more of our fog. Is there anything else we could have done with 6s? One of these is a 6. Can this one be a 6? It's the third one along from the 6. 1, 2. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So this cannot be a 6. So that gives us our 6 down here. That's going to open up this entire area. One of these will be a 6. Now we're getting a little bit too far where I can't see down here, so I can't make a determination on those 6s, I don't believe. And that's probably the last we're going to get with our 6 for now. So let's look at our 7s real quick. Now, 7 can't go in any of those spaces just by normal Sudoku. Can 7 ever go on this 12 cage? The answer again is no, because we've got a 5 staring at it. If the 7 wasn't here, it'd have to be 7, 5. It cannot be, therefore we have a 7. Now, we know we have a 7 here, so this is a 1, 6, 7 triple. Let's get rid of some of the extra fluff there. And let's look at these 3 digits. We've got them reasonably worked down as to what they can be. And I think this 12 is going to show itself to us. So what do we have left? We've got 4, 8, 3, and 9. Now, can we ever put 3, 9 in the 12 cage? No, because this would be nothing. So this is going to have to be 4, 8, which is going to force this to be the other bit of 3, 9. Now we don't know where this digit is on the palindrome yet because we haven't cleared up enough space. Anything else I don't think we can see. I mean, doing this, I don't think this is going to give us anything because there's a ton of different digits it could be. There's not enough really seeing it. So I'm going to hold on that for a minute and go back just to make sure. Okay, so our 7s can continue. We've got a 7 here. We're going to have a 7 down here somewhere. We know we had a 7 here. We've got a 7 down here somewhere. Can we rule this out as being a 7? Yes, we can because there's a 7 there, so goodbye. Okay, how about 8? 8 doesn't look all that great. I bet you didn't see that rhyme coming. Yeah, it was way too obvious. No 9s in any of those, but still a ton in here. I need to start getting down into here to see how this palindrome interacts so I can make some determinations. So what is a clue that we have that we can continue to use? Well, like I was trying to finish the 9. It doesn't have a lot left on it. Okay. What about in this box? What's left over? No, I do not have a Zoom meeting. Thank you, phone. We need 3. So we know there's okay, so we know this is 3, 9, and 5. So where the 3 in here has to go in one of these 3. The 9 has to go in down one of these, and the 5 has to go. This is a 3, 9, 5 triple. This is not a 5. So we've got a 3, 9 triple, 3, 9, 5 triple. We've got a 4, 8. This has to be a 2. That's all that's left. And that does give us a tiny little bit of more room to see. But we don't quite yet know where our midpoint of our palindrome is. If this is 3, 5, 9, these are not 3s. These 2 digits, we need a 1 somewhere. And then 4 and 8, but nothing's ruling out locations of any of those. Down here, we know there's a 2 down there somewhere, but that's all we know. Yeah, I think something's got to happen down here, I think, is where we're going to find our next major steps. But let's see if we can whittle away a little bit. I still don't think it's time to look at those 2 and determine what's left over. But we went kind of through our Sudoku measures at the moment. These 3, I think it's going to be something similar, right? We need a 2, 3. Oh wait, we do actually have something there. This 3 is going to tell us that there's a 3 here, which is something. We need a 2 in this row. Can't be there or there, so it has to be here. The other is a 4 or an 8, and we've got an 8 looking at us. So this is 4, this is 8, this is 4. There we go. That's a little something. That 4 is going to tell us our 1s. And now we've cleared a little bit of space like I had hoped. Now these 2 digits have to be 1, which we can put there, and 8, which we can put there. These, we know what this digit is. It's an 8. These 2 digits have to be from 2 and 4, and I'm guessing we're going to figure out what it is by this. Let's just type them in for now. Now this one and this one have to be the same. We've got the 2 there, so these are both 4s. That is a 2, and it continues to clear our fog, so we know we are doing things correctly. Now, what's this? Because it's going to match up with this one. there's only two digits that this one can be. They are 3 and 5. Well, we see a 3 here, so these are both 5s. And we are continuing. That's going to give us a 5 up here. It's going to give us a 3 up here. We have a 4 here, and we have a 9 here. Let's do these guys because we've got them fairly well flushed out. We've got 1, 6, and 9. This has to be 6. These we can get rid of our other markations. And then these digits have to be from 2, 3, and 4. We've got a 3, 4 looking, so we've got a 2 here. These are 3 and 4. Okay. Now, probably right here will be our next go-to. We've got 3 digits that I could be looking down this column, which are 2, 8, and 9. We've got 3 digits that could be looking down this aisle, or column. 2 is not one of them. So these are either 8 or 9. And we know there's an 8 down here. Let's get rid of our 5 markings because that 5 was already placed. Now we know this digit here cannot be 1. It could be 2. I said that slowly because of this Kropki that was making me think for a second. It could be 2. It could be 3. It can't be 4, and it can't be 7. So it's either 2 or 3. And that's not great. So I think we're probably, well, we know that neither of these, then it's 7. Because if this was a 7, this had to be 7, 6, or 7, 8, and then we can't put our 2, 3. So that forces our 7 here. It's going to give us a tiny bit more room to look about. This has to be from 2, 3, 4. So there is a 3 in one of these. That's what it's telling us. And we know there has to be a 2 down here as well. So this has to be the 2, 3. This is not 4, which means this is 4. This is 3. This has to be from 1, 8, or 9. Not useful. What's next in line? Well, we can find the midpoint now, and I think it's probably here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16th spot this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16th spot, so I was correct. Let's mark this as our epicenter, if you will. That might be a bit dark. Let's do it in gray. That looks a little bit better. So now we know everything emanating out from this one spot has to be the same, and it shows because we have our 2, 2 here. Now the next in line will be 3, 9. We've got a 3, so these are 9s. This is 1 and 9. This then has to be 8. This has to be a 1, which is going to give us 7. This is not 7. That 9 gives us 3 and 9. We've got, these are not 9s. Let's get rid of those. Do we have a 3 or a 5 looking at either one? Or we do not at the moment. This 9 is looking at this 8, which we could have seen over here anyway, but it is what it is. 2, 3, this has to be from a 1 or a 6 because these two are going to collate. Collate? That's not right. Correlate, I think is the proper word. We have a 1 here, so these are 6s. So our fog is gone. And we should be able to press through and finish this bad boy out. This row, we need 2 and 3. There's a 2 there, so that's 3, that's 2. That 3 is going to tell us our 5 and our 3. And this 2 is going to give us our 2 and our 3. This has to be the 4. These have to be from 4 and 8. So this is 8, this is 4. These have to be from 5 and 9. There's a 5 there, so 9 and 5. These have to be from 2 and 9. So 2, 9, and then we get 3 and 7, 7 and 3. And we get some music in the corner. It didn't say anything, and it hasn't told me it's right or not yet, so let's check. Heartfelt congratulations, you did it. Okay. So we got our little musical notes there. It didn't verbalize those notes, but it gave us what we wanted anyway. So anyway, that was Echo Through the Fog by Megan033. And it did really echo through this entire puzzle, which was a lovely way to go about it. Just had to figure out the juxtaposition of these digits, these 3 digits and these 3 digits, I believe it was. And then it all worked out. So great puzzle. Always a blast to do a fog puzzle. Always a blast to do one of Megan's puzzles. I hope you all enjoyed that one. If you did, let me know in the description below, or the comments below, excuse me. And as always, if you like this, let me know you like it any way you decide that you would prefer to do that. So anyway, thank you for spending some time with me, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks.